Hey there everyone, it's Chris Mack, and today's video is going to be different. I've got a bone to pick with the EDC community as a whole, and it's because I want to know, what have we done to EDC? It started out as simple. It started out as the basic foam wallet keys, and some people need a little bit different than that. And we've flipped it upside down and turned it into, it needs to be copper, it needs to be brass, it needs to be the top line leather, it needs to be the coolest, hottest thing, it needs to be a $450 knife, it needs to be a $150 pen. And we've got to the point where we've let things get way out of hand. So what initially ticked me off was a few weeks ago, one of the big names in EDC on YouTube, I did a video about don't buy stuff that's stolen or knocked off and stuff like that. The beginning of the video was really good and I agreed with it. And in essence, condensed, a little company went to big company and said, hey, we have a product, will you manufacture and sell it for us? Big company said sure. But they took that idea, buried it, made a copy, sold it, and then took little company's product, manufactured it, and sold it after they had already made it and produced it and sold it, completely undermining the little guy's product because it was more expensive as well. That's legitimate theft. That's wrong. However, if the video would have stopped there, it'd have been better. It'd have been okay. But it's not where it stopped. The person then went on a very nice long rant about how clones are wrong, about how knockoffs are wrong. And then, as soon as I say this, y'all are going to know who I'm talking about. And homage is a gray area because, well, I've done that. So now we have gray areas because you've done it. So is it right, is it wrong, or is it gray because you think it's cool for this particular item? And I've kind of had it with people thinking that just because they have a platform and everything like that, they get to tell people what they should buy, how they should buy it, and what they should do with their hard-earned money. I'm not on board anymore. So here's the thing. Whenever it comes to your money and what you purchase, you do you. If you want to buy a $450 knife, you do that. But I just hope that you're doing it responsibly and you're not having to make the decision of, well, do we eat ramen for the next 3 weeks or do I get a $400 knife? And I'm not going to be doing that. Here's why. Because this is my CRKT. It's of the M16 series. This is my third one of these. This is my first of this particular model. I've had two prior M16s. The first one took me 7 years to kill. The second one I've had for 10 years and still carry it. This one is a slightly shorter blade, and I had to transition to this because of moving in the state that I live in. But the first one sits in that toolbox right there as a reminder of the fact that for 60 bucks, I had that for 7 years. And I beat the living tar out of it. I used it in search and rescue and EMS. I used it to cut rappel lines whenever I've been tangled. I've used it to cut seat belts. I've used it to pry open doors. I've used it one day doing a grid search. I slipped on some ice. We had a foot of snow with 2 inches of solid ice on the top of it. And I started going down, and I used that sucker as an ice pick. Bang! And kept me from sliding the whole way down the hill over a cliff. So I keep that in there as a reminder of why you need quality tools. And I don't think that I understand that concept, and I believe you do get what you pay for, but at the same time, you don't have to overpay for something just because somebody tells you that you should. So I equate money not just as money, I equate it into time. And here's what I mean by that. Not just what I earn an hour, because Uncle Sam's going to take his cut. You got insurance, you got retirement and other stuff. I'm talking about what I actually get at the end of the day. So let's talk about moving into this. This is a Ganzo. This is a clone of a Benchmade 940. And a Benchmade 940 costs anywhere from $160 to $250. I am not going to spend $250 on a knife because $250 isn't $250. $250 equates into 2-3 shifts. In other words, 2 or 3 days. And because I work 3/12s, that's a week. That's an entire week's worth of work spent away from my family. I'm not willing to make that trade-off. Because at the end of the day, who am I? I'm not somebody who's going to go out and, as my wife says, I'm not going to go buy pocket jewelry. I'm going to buy functional, hardworking tools because I am a hardworking man. And I'm not going to waste the money that I worked hard to get. Another aspect of spending your money wisely is the fact that I see it frequently on Instagram where people are purchasing stuff for an obscene amount of money for like these expensive $200 to $400 knives, and then they list them for sale just a few days or a few weeks later saying, it's been out of the box, but it's never been used. I just think that people should only purchase things that they can truly afford and not break the bank and make poor choices about what they're spending their money on. Yes, if you want to carry a knife, but if you don't need a $450 knife, don't buy a $450 knife if you're just going to have to turn around and sell it shortly thereafter, because, yeah. Let's get into the whole thing of the clones and knockoff bit, because here's this. Again, the Ganzo 940 clone, this costs $20. If you dislike this knife, you fall into one of three categories. One, you don't like a particular aspect about it. You don't like the scales. You don't like the tip design. You don't like that it's tip up, carry only. This guy. You don't like the lock on it. Also this guy. Category. And that's completely fine and okay because they're legitimate. I don't like something about it. The second category is that somebody told you clones are bad and you don't like it. I'm sorry, you're incapable of thinking for yourself. Moving on. The third group I give some leniency to, and those are people who own a Benchmade 940, because I can understand how this is a slap in Benchmade 940 owners' faces, because they went and shelled out that hard-earned money. So I get that, I understand that. Here's the thing I want those people, though, to think about in addition to. This is competition. So whether you like this or not, another part of your EDC does like it. Your wallet. Here's why. Being competition is going to keep prices in check. This right here is what keeps, at the top end, a Benchmade 940 costing $250 and not $450 like other knives that are out there. The other thing with this is that, again, not just for prices, but to also keep the companies honest. Because so let's say they downgrade the steel, they say $50 a knife, but they only drop the price by $10 a knife, they're making a $40 profit, and they have no competition to keep them honest. I'm not saying they're dishonest to begin with, I'm just saying this is a preventative to keep big companies from becoming dishonest. And secondly, again, just restating, that it keeps prices in check. Okay? Whenever it comes to the whole clone and knockoff argument, though, I want to bring up something else that's really important, and that is, this is a folding knife. This is a folding knife. There are tons of folding knives out there. So who made the first one? Aren't they all a ripoff of somebody else's original idea of having a knife that folds? Okay, so it's a slightly different steel. Okay, so the tip is a little bit different. At the end of the day, they're all folding knives. Let's make this a little bit more personal, a little bit more close to home whenever it comes to the EDC community as a whole, and why I think this idea of clones and knockoffs are evil. How many people out there make a variant of paracord bracelets? There are tons of people they'll either put a different bead in it, or they'll put a different clasp on it, or they'll have this many feet, or they'll make it with like the fire cord or something like that. Okay, it's a different variant of an existing product. Are they crooks too? Same thing, Pry Tools. We've got the Gerber Shard, CRKT makes one. Let's see, the Griffin Pocket Tool, Night Eyes Doohickey. There's the one that's got the little Punisher skull on it. These are all tools that go on your keyring meant for prying, and some of them have a little different variant. Are those people crooks, or are they rip-offs or knockoffs of an existing product? Another example, and again, I'm going to go ahead and stay here in from the infamous Clint Smith, no disrespected and or implied. However, what about hanks? I follow at least 5 creators on Instagram who make hanks. And I know there's more out there. So who came up with the original homemade hank idea? Okay? I'm not saying that any of these people that I just mentioned who make similar products are wrong or evil or anything like that, but if you're not, then neither is Ganzo for making a clone product of an existing product in the 940, because trust me, Benchmade's not going under because of this product. There's a difference between theft and making a similar product for a better price, because that's good business. Theft, like discussed at the beginning, that's an issue, that's wrong, but making similar products is good business, and we need that. At the end of the day, truly, honestly, EDC has to be yours. It has to be individual. It has to be something that you're willing to do with your hard-earned money, and it has to work in a manner in which you want it to work. I am never going to bash anybody for wanting to own a $450 knife, but I sure to heck am not going to bash anybody for owning a $20 knife either. You do you do what you can afford. Be smart with your finances. That's all I want to say. It's not a gray area. It's either theft or it's good business practice. When it comes to the future of the channel, I don't think I'm going to be purchasing a lot of stuff to just try it and do a review about. I think I'm going to be sticking more to stuff that I've had for a long time and reviewing it, and probably some more of my weird, crazy adventures and stuff like that on things that I'm up to and doing, like gear setups. I've been slowly working on getting my wife's car set up with all the stuff she would need if she were to get stuck in the snow or something like that. So I think I'm going to stick to videos of that nature. Again, still stick with reviews, but reviews that are more practical to what I do and who I am. You're not going to see fidget spinners and stuff like that on here, because that's just not who I am and what I do. If that's what you do, have at it there. But you're not going to be seeing stuff like that on this channel. Again, as my wife said, I don't do pocket jewelry. I'm not going to spend an obscene amount of money on a knife just to be like, oh, look, I'm carrying it because I use my stuff. Okay. However, if you've listened to me this long, let's finish strong. EDC is about budget. It's about practical. It's about knowing your gear, and it's about just individualized. So while this is going to be a huge giveaway, do with what you will. I just want to give away some stuff to remind us that you don't need a $100 pen. You don't need a $400 knife. You don't need a $100 to $300 custom wallet. You need what you need, whatever that price tag might be. Okay? So starting off, Gerber Shard. I have one of these on my keys. This one's in silver, but one of those. Next is a Victorinox Classic SD. This one has black scales on it. Next is a Parker Jotter. Y'all remember these? Like when EDC was first getting its start a couple of years ago, like being popular, these things were awesome, and they're like 15 bucks. I carried one of these my senior year of high school and like my first 2 years of college, but anyhow, the Parker Jotter, because it's awesome and it's budget friendly. Next is a Streamlight Nano. I'm a huge fan of Streamlight. I EDC a Stylus Pro every day. And last but not least, an Ontario Rat 2. I have the Rat 1, and I've been a fan of it thus far. It's a good budget product, but yeah, this is just the baby brother of the Rat, so the Ontario Rat 2, we're going to give this away too. So how do you enter? I want you to sound off down in the comments on what was the biggest mistake when it comes to purchases for your EDC. Mine was I bought an Open L, it was a number 7 or number 9. I bought it to review it, and I knew the second that I bought it, I was going to hate it. But it was one of those iconic knives. It was at a decent price, and I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. I mean, it was around like 20, 25 bucks, and I'm like, yeah, let's try it. And yeah, I hated it from the start. The minute I had it in my hands, I was like, what was I thinking? It's not a bad knife. It's just not for me. So that's my number one mistake. All right, so sound off down below in the comments with that. Rules and info for the giveaway down below in the description. And last but not least, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because there are more giveaways to come. We're almost at 450 subs, and when we get there, there's another giveaway coming for that as well. Thank you so much. As always, it's Chris Mack.